This is the first real time we ever told this.
And like Steph be shooting them half-court shots all the time. But when they make them, you just be used to it. Poole's the same way. He be shooting them crazy shots, and over time, you be like, nah, he do this all the time.
I be told not to listen to the leaders. Then when they come out, haven't got an attitude problem, he ain't listening to nobody. Like,
No, I know exactly what I did in that series. So, yeah, it's where it's supposed to be. At the house.
At the crib.
Welcome back to Gilbert Arenas, presented by Underdog Fantasy.
I got a gripe with Gil.
Why come?
What'd I do? Gripe for what?
Remember.
What happened?
So people don't know that Gilbert has been in this space for a while. Gilbert was like one of the first NBA bloggers. Agent Zero.
Yeah.
People were like, players were like looking forward to, it was like weekly or monthly?
Weekly.
It was weekly.
Yeah.
We were like reading that. It was good. Like you were on top of your game. Like, and this is my problem with today's game. And we don't want to become those old guys that gripe about the young guys because it was done to us. But there was a different level of competition, I feel like, in previous generations. And I feel like we have a competition problem right now because there's too much money. And you spoke about that every week. Like, I'm looking for this team. I can't wait for this game. I can't wait for this game. And it's like, every player in the league used to do that. And I'm like, does that still happen? But on your Agent Zero blog, you were talking about me, you were talking about Ben Gordon, and somebody else who didn't sign their extension off their rookie contract. And you were talking about how Ben Gordon and myself were shooting ourselves in the foot, no pun intended.
We already starting.
No pun intended. But you were saying like this is a bad business decision because I think I had 60 on the table and Ben might have had like 45, 50 on the table or something else.
50.
And you were saying like we weren't in a position of leverage to not take the extension going into that year because the team has all the leverage and how they play call and they can, you don't know young that a team can pretty much determine what type of season you have.
Yeah.
Right? And that's a real thing. But I've never forgot reading that. I'm like, why am I making the wrong decision? But it ended up working out for kind of the both of us. It worked out. But I always remembered that, which is pretty funny. But I thought it was really good insight. And so the angle you spoke at it, it wasn't like disrespectful, but it was funny. And then I remember like, I remember feeling some type of way like, like, wait, am I missing something here? But I mean, you probably would have done the same thing,
Listen, when I used to sit with like the owner and general managers just on deals, and you hear horror stories, right?
Yeah.
And I remember I hit Buddy Hield. That's Buddy Hield, right?
Yeah, Buddy Hield, Sacramento.
And he was mad about that deal, right? And he was turning it down. And I hit him in the DM. Hold on, bro. Like, right? Like, this is supposed to be the best time of your life. This is you about to change your family's life, right? So I know y'all off about 10 million. Do not be the dude that turns down this money and you go back to this team. Because this is business, right? I said, you go back to this team and they looking at you like you trying to get Mo, I'm gonna sit you down. Now they got you for cheap, right? I said, now you become that bitter dude that's chasing his money the rest of his career. True. I said, just relax. I said, look, this is your age, boom. I said, so at your age, right, this is who you're comparable with. Stop looking at the 18 and 19, that's not your class, right? That's not your class. You're the best person in your draft, but not for that age. So your age is, Bill, Cat, they all-stars, right? So now looking at a 25-year-old who's not an all-star.
Right.
CJ McCullough.
Yeah.
It's a CJ McCullough's contract. That's about fair.
Yeah.
So I said, so put everything in perspective, but you're supposed to be happy right now.
True.
Yeah.
I said, you're supposed to be happy, man. Like, don't let this motherfucker just trick you. And then what ended up happening? He got benched the next year anyway.
Yeah.
And I know he was like, God damn, I'm glad I signed that money.
No, that's real, because it happened to Shabazz Muhammad in Minnesota. Remember, he rejected like 44, 50 million. He's playing behind Wiggins. It's actually terrible to do. And then the next year, literally, he only played like 12 minutes out the league. You don't know where Mans is at now.
It's tricky. Like, I remember when I'm renegotiating my deal, right? So I'm sitting there, and everybody's like, yo, you gonna opt out? And I'm like, no, I don't think so, right? I don't think so. But in my mind, I'm like, I already know, like I can feel this.
Yeah.
This ain't the same no more. Like I ain't gonna be able to, nah.
Yeah.
So I said the only way I can get that bag or secure a bag is if I opt out. They're gonna have to sign me for something.
Right.
Right, I got about 15, 17 left. If I opt out, shit, if I can get to 35, I'm good. Right. Shit, that's how I'm thinking. Just grab 4, 5 more million. It don't really matter at that point. So I was like, the only way I do that is if I opt out, if I stay back in and I don't play no more, they have all the leverage. I have all the leverage right now. Yeah. Right, so that was the only reason I opted out. If not, I would have stayed in.
So what do you think happened with Schroeder? Because I'm still confused on that one.
I feel like the market was just so tight, so crazy, and like, no, but I'm saying when you break that down, like you said, I think when it comes to all that money, dudes get too much into their own head, you know?
Well, he said he was never actually offered that money. That's why I'm confused.
Who said he wasn't?
Who said he was?
That's what he said, right? Yeah, he said that.
So they threw it
Schroeder said he was never offered the 70, because that's what it was, right?
I think like 4 for 84, something like that.
But you know, most of our deals go through the agent, and we find out when it gets to a certain number.
Yeah.
And you know, probably when it got to a certain number, his agent was like, "Nah, that's disrespectful." Right? So
that was tough. That's
it's still
kind of like the Oladipo thing, you know. Unfortunately, and he's hopefully heals up. But he was 2 for. Remember, was it 2 years, $40 million or something like that with the Houston Rockets?
No, it went from like 100 to 80 to a 40.
Yeah, something like that. 2 years, 80 million or something. He kept saying no, or something weird.
Yeah.
And you gotta have self-awareness on who you are too, right? Like what type of piece are you actually for this group, right? Like who are you?
Yeah.
Like in the big scheme of things, like age, personality, position, work ethic, because you know everything accounts for. Like you got to really know.
Let's go back to the Bulls then when Ben didn't get his extension, right? Mm-hmm. What piece was he to that team, right? Wow got 70.
Yeah.
He was averaging 20.
Yeah. And we've been waiting for a 2 guard ever since.
And it's like, where did he place? Because it was like they offered him 50.
Yeah, we were missing a 2 guard during the whole time we were championship contenders. Well, the Bulls were. You know what I mean? With D Rose, Luol Deng, all those guys. But we had, shout out to Ronnie Brewer, but Ronnie Brewer was a 2-man at the time.
100%.
And that was after, you know. But Ben Gordon was going crazy. 09 final, like 09 first round.
You're 6'1", 6'2".
But that's why he turned it down, because he's like, I'm doing more than Luau. Y'all giving him 70.
I know, but that's why I said you have to have self-awareness.
Right, but okay.
Because you're a little guard. You're a little guard, right? You're not Derrick Rose, right? You're a little guard. You're a 1-2. Are you worth $80 million?
But that deal was before D Rose.
But what I'm saying is, are you worth $80 million compared to your position versus everyone else?
He's probably arguing too. We forget this, and shout out to Captain Kirk. But Captain Kirk was getting $1.
But he's a point.
I totally dig you, but D Rose is right there, and Ben Gordon, whether you say, you know, bro, 20 is 20.
20 is 20 against everybody, and it's against everybody.
20 is 20. So when we sit in there,
But that's the secret. 20 ain't 20 for everybody.
Shit, that 09 playoff run, it was 30.
But that's what I'm saying.
He was holding his joint every time.
Right, you're an investor. Are you going to invest in 6 foot to 6'2" that has to play the shooting guard, or someone that's 6'5" to 6'8" that can play 1, 2, 3?
Man, you're absolutely right. Yeah. We just at that.
Like when it comes to the hoop part, right? Yeah. We thinking 20, that should be able to get the same money. Yeah. But there's you know, anyway, that's what I said. If he was a point guard, then maybe. But the fact that he was a 2 guard, you're the smallest 2 in the league, right? You're expendable.
But are you going from the starter's perspective, or just using him both in a starter position and bringing him off the bench, being able to be both sides?
It don't matter. You're a shooting guard. You're the guy who has to guard Kobe. You're actually what you are is.
He doesn't have to guard Kobe.
No, because we have to put our point guard on the Kobe.
We have to put Luau on Kobe. That's what you're here for, to play defense.
But that's what I'm saying. Why can't you stick him?
Because we play small.
That's not what I do, Coach.
But that's not what I do. But now you see why he would get screwed in the big picture thing. Because like we can find we can find anybody who can put up 20. Just taller.
Yeah, but we did it. We found.
I know you did.
Yeah, we did it, and every single time we were 20. Not we. The Bulls at that time.
You're a fan.
I'm saying, they were 20 points away or like an automatic bucket. Shout out to Johnny Salmons for coming on a little bit, but we needed somebody like, bro, Ben don't miss. At that time, Ben was not missing.
Trust me, I had to play him in the playoffs.
Yeah, literally a problem. And like,
him, Pargo, coming off that. Yeah, it was.
But I look at them type of situations where when he's getting that offer and he turned that down, it kind of fucked up. It was a domino effect of everyone looking for the bag. He's producing at that level that didn't get it. Like y'all was saying, the domino effect became, nah, I'ma wait. And then everyone that didn't get read up, he ended up in Detroit. Yeah. Taking way less than what was offered. And then he just fizzled out. And it's like everyone did that. Not a lot of guys that were supposed to get that bag got the bag because they thought they was worth more than what it was. Instead of taking that advice, it's just taking it and then trying to use it.
Yeah, but the other way that works as well, our homie, we use him all the time, Lou Will. Yeah. Sometimes to average what he averaged for the past 8 or 9, I had a conversation when I'm like, man, shoot, they gave me 18, I was averaging 9. If I average 18 a game, I want 50 million a night. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I need that, so I don't know what you're talking to him about, but like.
Straight up.
See, but your value's higher.
Yeah.
I can play you at the 1, 2, 3.
No, for sure, but how he's being used with the Clippers, though, at that time, is some of those teams, I mean, 3 6-mans of the year, you talking about numbers going into the front office. Like
Jamal Crawford never got a big number.
Never.
No, because they handicapped the 6-man.
Yeah.
Like, so when I came in, when I got drafted, I'm coming as a tweener, right? So I'm more of like a shooting guard. And I'm sitting there, I remember Jason Richards is getting his ass whooped. Oh, Vince Carter. Right, we got Vince Carter, we got Cuttino Mobley, you got Finley, and we sitting there like, bro, you ain't even go against Kobe T-Mac yet. Ray Allen, we ain't even see them yet. He's like, I know, bro, this shit difficult over here. And I was like, oh. And I'm sitting there like, we's joking, but I like, I can't play in this league, right? So I was like, if you can't, you also like you. And then I started looking at the points.
Sweet.
Oh, they
it's sweet.
Weak.
It's sweet out here. It's sweet out here.
Pass me. I'm gonna pass it to the big guy.
Antonio McDaniels.
Yeah. Bobby Sir was doing triple doubles back in the day.
Yeah. So Bob. Yeah. So he was like a combo.
Yeah.
So I end up my second year we were supposed to we were fighting for the starting position. We were fighting for the starting position going into training camp.
Yeah, blonde hair then.
Yeah. Because they kept calling them. We're the real Slim Shady. Please stand up and piss them off. He'd throw the ball at the scoreboard. I told y'all stop playing that shit. He was the coolest dude. But that's why I went to the point. Because as a big point, my value was higher.
Yeah.
Do you think they would have paid me 111 as a shooting guard back then? It was tweening. That Ben Gordon. It was in that time frame. Like you're gonna get paid that now, but like the CJ McCullers, what I'm gonna put you at the 1 or the 2.
Yeah.
The Eric Gordons, that's the Ben Gordon. That thing, you're gonna have to pick and most likely go to the 1.
Well, that was some amazing pregame show conversation.
Oh, shit, we forgot you was here.
Yo, I'm always
my bad.
With a gavel at.
smoke. Give me some.
Welcome and good evening.
My bad, Josiah.
Let me do my host shit. Y'all was just lingering.
Lingering.
Appreciate the conversation.
Introductions.
But, we 10 minutes deep, but either way, still Gilbert Arenas presented by Underdog Fantasy. Got the legend Gilbert Arenas here with us.
What's up, man?
Got Rashad McCants here with us. And as you see, we got 2 legendary guests making their first debut on the show. First off, 4-time NBA champ, 2015 Finals MVP. May or may not be coming back for his 20th season. We're going to try to figure it out by the end of this year. May or may not. May or may not.
It seems like the only person that knows something is over there.
Andre Iguodala in the building. We also got 2010 college play. Yeah, all that bear down shit. We got to.
Damn, man.
We need some Bruins in here.
Yeah.
Hey, we got to get Hollins on the show. We got to get Hollins on the show to defend his honor, man. Y'all play around too much. But we got 2010 College Player of the Year, former number 2 overall pick, played 10 years in the league, Evan Turner. You can catch them both on their Point Forward podcast. We have to do that part. I'm going to get cussed out.
No, that's
if I don't mention the podcast,
I be forgetting to mention it. So I'm grateful.
My job is done.
They're like, what you been up to lately? I'm like,
Oh, shit.
you know me, doing me.
You know me. But got to mention that or I get cussed out by my higher-ups, my masters, if you will. But we got some things to discuss and get into as we already were. But before we get into all that, as always, show brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. If you have not done so already, go ahead and download the app. Use promo code GillsArena. They'll match your first deposit up to $100. And
Damn.
$100
Acquisition
deposit
costs
match.
are crazy.
Yeah, acquisition is crazy. It's up. It's up.
If you do come back, you can invest in Underdog Fantasy now.
Hey, look, I've been killing. I ain't even gonna lie.
Yeah.
Hey, I was on the heater this weekend.
I don't like this nigga, man.
Woo! Wait, did you? Wait,
When I was winning, you tell me to send in my picks, and then when you start winning, you don't want to send in your picks and shit. You just want to win by yourself.
I've been on some sneaky shit. I don't want to fuck my rhythm up.
And as always, you can't watch the show live. Go ahead and watch it on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcast. In addition to the Point Forward podcast with these two gentlemen. So, Dre, before they got into it, did you say you coming? What's going on? You coming back? You retired? We need one more. We could use you in the purple and gold.
Man, I've been busy.
We need that vet leadership.
I've been busy. So when I get an opportunity to actually think about it, I'll have a decision. No, I've been busy this summer, man. I've been home for like 14 days all summer. Been all over the earth. So business is going well right now, or I shouldn't say that. Business is going right now.
Okay.
In our world, going is good. So
Yeah.
working on a few things, and so we'll see how it
You still working out, staying in shape? What you thinking?
I'm African, so we don't never get out of shape. That's one thing I ain't never had to worry about was getting in shape. So, and then my son, he don't like me talking about him, but he's taller than me right now. So I got to remind him that I still got it.
Hey.
I always mess with him. I say, listen, I ain't playing for the Warriors right now. I'm playing for me. You're gonna see how nice I was. So I be tearing his ass up. Okay. But he can hoop now. I got to play for real. I got to stretch now.
You got to stretch now.
I got to play for real now. Yeah, he can hoop a little bit.
So we talk about a lot of current former players, got podcasts. So let's just talk about a little bit how y'all podcast came together and what makes the Point Forward podcast so unique.
Shoot, we always talked about it. I mean, we kick it regardless. So usually, by the time we get done hanging out, we're usually in a room like this. So most of our conversation was kind of like, "Man, this is dope. We should do a podcast," type shit. And after pandemic, everybody and their mom was doing a podcast. So we were like, "Shit, sign us up, right?" And,
They doing it, but they're not doing it correctly.
No, correct. And I think one thing that occurs is like, the mission that you want to get on, but the camaraderie. Like, this is thorough, this is real. So at the same time, it's not like a money grab or a force. It's two dudes really having a real convo and keeping it real. And I think that's what is usually missed in this element. Like, you guys are great at it. The camaraderie is huge and the chemistry, and we just been carrying that over and trying to do something that's real to ourselves. So most people are doing basketball pods, and we might cross over and get businessmen. We had Robert Smith, we had SBF's Brankman Fried on there. That was a pretty
got
big
locked
one.
up.
Pre-lockup.
Yeah, before he got locked up. So we had
Curly perm.
Yeah.
For curly
Yeah, that's
perm
what I'm saying.
Caucasians out here.
I read something today. He was going to the Brooklyn jail. Was that fake news or was that real?
You need to go to Rikers.
That's real? He going to the Brooklyn jail.
Yep.
I thought somebody said.
Hey, you're going to learn about some crypto.
That's wild.
You're going to learn about that. But so where did this relationship start? With the Sixers, or how did y'all come together? I know y'all both from Illinois, obviously Chicago, but you, Springfield a little bit?
Yeah, so I started off, and then he's a great storyteller. But I watched him in college his sophomore year. You went back for your junior year, right? So I was watching him his sophomore year. I'm like, this kid is 6'7", played a point. And so I like those type of players. And so he's in Chicago that summer at Tim Grover's working out. And so I introduced myself, was like, yo, we exchanged numbers. I'm gonna be watching you, fam. Like, I knew he's gonna be lottery the next year. I'm like, whatever you need, let me know. Like, just, he's a good kid. And it's funny because who was our coach? Eddie, your coach.
Eddie Jordan.
Eddie Jordan was our coach the next year in Philly. And we ain't win too many games with the Princeton offense with Elton Brand at the 4.
Right.
And you need a stretch 4. And LEB like, give me the ball on the block. What am I doing on 3-point line?
Yeah.
So we only won 23 games that year, 27 games that year.
27 games.
So we ended up getting a lottery pick, and we ended up drafting Evan. I remember seeing him in Chicago, walking down Michigan, when dapped him up right before the draft, and then that was a draft lottery night.
Yeah, draft lottery.
And then we get the number 2 pick, and we ended up drafting him, and then you could tell the story from there, or how we didn't get along at the
Yeah, I was obviously like just an immature kid, and Dre was an immature adult. So when you mix that in and stuff, I was I was easy to pause, turn on in the sense of a reaction, and this man will always just get me to have a reaction. So at one point, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just about done fucking with you. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, yeah, don't take me wrong to see this going, and we'd be up and down or whatever. And I just remember I told this story. We were playing in the playoffs versus the Heat. And, one day we had played one-on-one, like 7 or 8 games straight. And clearly we always had great respect for him, but I think after that, when we played, we were able to win the next day and shit. And we were just like, yo, how the hell? We've been fake beefing all year. The game been so easy that we've been helping each other. Why the hell we didn't do this way sooner? You know what I mean? And
fake beefing.
Yeah, fake beefing and shit. Because we were the exact same person. So, like, if it came down to, like, a laugh, me and him had the same personality on the shit, like, you know what I'm saying? Or, like, we had the same vibe. So, from there, we were able to build a brotherhood, and it's just been rolling ever since.
Yeah, we blame Philly, though.
Yeah.
One-on-one does it every time.
But Philly brought him in, and I think they handed him he speaks on it all the time, so I can speak on it. They handed him the team, like, here. And we're so close that we would have conversations like, man, such and such is telling me not to listen to you. Or such and such is telling me not to rock with you.
Yeah,
like,
don't do this or stay away from here.
Yeah, but the same
players, coaches?
Like, coaches are coming in and be like, don't listen to him. Like, do you understand what I'm saying? Or like, I mean, this is the first real time we ever told this. So I used to be in the back and they'd be like, yo, he's immature, don't listen. I'd be told not to listen to the leaders. Then when they come out, I haven't got an attitude problem, he ain't listening to nobody, like all this goofy stuff. I'm like, yo, you whole ass nigga, you just told me not to listen.
You just told me not to listen to this nigga.
Oh, okay. And I used to never say to him, like, oh, okay, bet. So before he knew it, it was a lot of divide and conquer type situation in Philly that occurred. And, one thing that occurred that wasn't realistic, it's just, you have to be realistic to the elements and listen to the players. Like, my agent saying, like, yo, you gonna come in and take this dude's spot? Like, bro, this is Iguodala, dog. Like, this is a all-star. He began at the beginning of his prime. Like, somebody signed him at $82 million, like, whatever else is going on. Like, the first real conversation I had from it was Rod Thorne being like, yo, you can't beat them out, I don't trade good players. So, like, figure it out like that, big dog. Like, you no longer in college. This is, like, the real world. If you can't beat them out, or is this center third, we're going to work together, figure it out. But, like, I think during that time, there's a lot of stuff that you learn. But at the end of the day, I think, you can't let people get in between this brotherhood. You know what I'm saying?
You know what's funny? Like, people don't realize that most of the problems that's in locker rooms are created outside.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? They're created from outside. Someone's talking, like, that I hate that sources say, right? So as a player, you got the reporters you talk to, you got the reporters you talk to, and that's where the beef it starts, right? It starts from the dumb shit from the outside. And I remember when John Wall, because we got John, right? And you remember I'm on Demon Time, hair off, I got my beard and shit, looking like I'm from the 70s, right? 70s 21-year-old, right? You know them niggas look old back
and
then.
anytime you rich and scruffy, you dangerous. Like that's like you don't give a fuck about nothing.
Right? So I remember when I came, I'm not talking no personnel, came to training camp, seen the first time, and said, oh my God, man, big fan, this and this. And I'm sitting here like, damn, I was ready to beef with you, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, I was ready to give you all the smoke, because they want to give you this team, and I wasn't going to let this motherfucker ride without a fight. And then that first handshake, I said, this your team, dude. Yeah. I want no part.
That's
no
crazy.
argument, no nothing. Whatever you say, go. Don't listen to none of them, right? They don't. Hey, team. This is who you listen to now.
Yeah.
I listen to them because I know how that game plays. Right? It was gonna start off me go at him. Yeah. They find a reason to bench me, trade me, get me the fuck out of here because I'm not fucking with the future. So I let that shit be known in training camp. Now I'll go to the second team. I'll come off the bench. Yeah. Now I'll come off the bench, boss. I got my money. What the fuck y'all gonna do? Yeah. Shit, I got 88 still.
No, that's real.
You know what's crazy though? When you say they was telling you not to listen to him, you actually had the team for a few years when you got to 82. Like niggas forget you was the second AI, and it was handed to you.
Right.
The way they wanted to hand it to him.
Right.
And so it's like, I always talk about how niggas forget certain niggas' games. Like, this dude, Dre, was really that nigga. So for you to come in and be that, you know what I'm saying, the next tier, and for them to say, don't listen to him. Was they saying that to you about AI?
No, they weren't saying that to me about AI, but the situation with AI in Philly was already, it was already what it was. Like, he wanted to get traded before that. You know, they got documentaries. Right before they went to the finals of 2001, he was saying it was me or Larry Brown. Mm-hmm. You know, so they had that situation. And in Philly, I had 5, 6 coaches in 8 years. So every year, like, that was the hardest part. Every year you got to prove yourself. I'm like, this is getting exhausting. Like, every year I got a coach telling me, like, this is the way I see your game. Mm-hmm. You only been, Eddie George's only there for 6 months. Mm-hmm. Next coach, this is what your idea, my idea of your game. Next coach, this is my idea of your game. I'm like, this is getting exhausting.
Yeah, then we had a coach come in, you know, with Lou Will, Dre, who else? Nikola Vucevic.
Drew Holiday. So we don't have anybody on this team to go get 20. At best, we probably have people averaging 13. That's literally what he said. There's nobody talented enough in here to go get 20.
Wow.
So like when you start mixing up, and we did have some success and stuff, but it's like, goes back to just knowing what you know. You know what I'm saying? And like, I think some of our biggest successes was when we did join together and be like, fuck what whoever talking about, we just gonna try to win. And you know, I think that was what reverted best for that. But
that was, and people, I tell people this all the time. Like, I won 4 championships with the Warriors, and I have close relationships with them, like close, they're my guys. But I have just as close, or if not even closer relationships with that Philly team, just because everything we saw. Like, we saw some wild stuff. We saw somebody throw their keys in.
like crazy shit. Yeah.
That was crazy.
No, we ain't seen 2 old dudes ask what the fuck you want to do type shit. Like, arguing over this 2 OGs, 2 70-year-olds, you got to break them up. Like, in the front office, like wild stuff where you like, damn, like, okay, this is the league.
This is the league, right?
Stuff. But you know, to attest to that and like how thorough it is, and you know, I would be remiss to not, you know, tip my hat. But like sometimes, you know, cream rises to the top, and like even when they're trying to give Dre shit up, you know, the level of what it is and you know what you think you deserve is 2 different levels. So I only played 10 years, and you know what I mean. We'll have to bam. Dre went on to play 20, and 4, you know. 4 or 19, 4 NBA championships.
I got a feeling it's gonna be 20.
Yeah. And
I'm gonna just go ahead and report it.
That's what I'm saying. But like a Hall of Fame situation where, like, you know, at the end of the day, like sometimes like it's just different levels, you know, and you have to really attest to that. But
we got 2 former Sixers here, so we got to talk about, because it seemed like what y'all talk about back in the day, ain't shit really changed in Philly.
Crazy, right? Ain't shit changed.
Biggest news this week: Harden going at Darryl Morey. And the Sixers during his tour in China. Let's take a trip back down memory lane and see what Harden had to say.
Darryl Morey is a liar, and I would never be a part of an organization that he's a part of. Let me say that again. Darryl Morey is a liar, and I would never be a part of an organization that he's a part of. Thank you, man.
I feel like you got to prep people for that type of announcement. You just can't come out. It's like randomly flashing somebody. It's like, no, you got to. Everybody got to be watching. You know what I mean? Like, you can't be like, hey,
that was.
Kids camp?
It's like,
Somebody
bro,
asked him a question. It's like what he thinks about the. In China, he was on his tour. Somebody asked him a question. He just went in.
He went in.
It's the case. Y'all did hear it the first time. The language barrier. I'm gonna say that shit again. But the funniest shit is the cheers. Like, is that something you cheer about?
Yes.
No. It's funny because, I mean, if it's in China, they know what the fuck
Yeah, they're like, what?
No,
I'm here for this shit.
They're like, he done talking.
And here's where this is where I'm trying to figure out, like, my voice, right? Because, you know, I'm in the business tech world, and ET's like, man, I need you to relax, just be yourself. And I say, you know, I sit on this board. You know, I just got on a new board, which is pretty big. And so I have to, pause. So I have to be careful on how I present things. But I will say about this is, how much money was said to be lost by Darryl's comments some years back. 2020?
Yeah, like a couple billion, right?
It was about 900 million.
The time that I was doing this in China, Daryl Morey had said some stuff about Hong Kong before they went out to play the games.
And so I'm always telling people, know what your leverage is. The same thing, you always say that. When you go into a contract negotiation, know what your value and how you can leverage yourself. Know what opportunities you have on the other side, like to your safety net. What is James' safety net? Daryl Morey has a history with China where he can say something and the backlash from what he says, it may not be any because there is a history there with Morey and China. So it was a great move out of leverage by James. One, because it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard to discipline James because what did he do wrong? Right? And James gonna sell some shoes. That's ultimately why he's over there. And so, we're so quick to say, what he said? He said disgruntled player, because Kyrie, he had James back because the headline from Woj was disgruntled player James Harden. Is like, why is he disgruntled? Why isn't the front office ever disgruntled? They always put players in a certain light. And what you're hearing a lot now is players have too much power. Because we're getting smarter and smarter because we know how to move and we know how to say certain things and we know how to use our leverage. Because when we make mistakes, it's used against us, correct? But when they make mistakes, we've never put ourselves in the position to use their mistakes against them as well. And I just think he just had a perfect opportunity to repeat himself.
I think we're learning a new playbook. They're still using the same old playbook that they've been using for years and years. So most likely what happened here, I kind of know what happened, right? They promised him if he takes a pay cut, they'll pay him back on the back end, right? So take a pay cut to come here, and when it's time to re-up, we'll give it back to you, right? Probably like a Haslam type of deal, right?
But that's not legal according to the CBA. That's their argument. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
No, true. But it's like a handshake. It's basically a handshake type deal. It's like hey, we got Bosch, all this coming in. You're gonna have to take a pay cut, but we'll take care of you. When you start winding down, we'll make sure you get compensated back. Right? That's how that deal is. So here, I think it was the same thing where you take the pay cut now. When you re-up, we'll make sure we give you all your money. And now they don't want to. And that's why he's like, oh, y'all fucking cheated me. Y'all lied. Well, I don't want to be here no more.
But he still technically got to go to work, or?
Oh no, he ain't going.
You don't think so?
But he won't.
No.
But he won't get paid.
Oh no. They gonna do the same shit they try to do with Ben. But that's what's gonna fuck them. That's what's gonna fuck them up. We already seen this playbook. We seen what you did to Ben. It worked against Ben. It's not gonna work again. Right? You're not gonna bring him into training camp, right? He got a phone in his pocket, water bottle. We're gonna suspend him for. You're not gonna do that shit again, right? We caught on, right? We caught on to the whole scheme. You're gonna try to, discipline him. He gonna say he's mentally focused, and then his back gonna hurt. He can do the same shit, but you're gonna try that, not pay the man his money and try to use the money as leverage.
Regardless, is the process done now?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I'm just saying
they got to trade him now.
No,
They're still processing.
Me and Dre always say this. We were 2 minutes away from a game going to the Eastern Conference Finals 2012. Rajon Rondo hits 2 threes down the stretch. That's back in 2012. We only shot 11 threes at the time. Rondo only made 3 on the year probably. Shout out to playoff Rondo though, like 1,000%. So when you sit there, we trade everybody off. We say these dudes reached the peak. Dre was 27, Lou Will was like 26, I was 23, Drew was 22, Nikola Vucevic was on the bench, whatever. Go on, we keep screaming process. Keep going on. The closest, I guess they probably got into the championship was what, the Kawhi Leonard? So what was that? Another game 7, round 2. So since then, all the hype, all the hoopla, dumbass Philly people think they cheering for a new regime that's like unbelievable, and all they did was give over $1 billion to the exact same mid shit that we did.
Man.
And you want to know who's the genius in the front office? Or like whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? But like, isn't that wild?
It's
10 years.
But there's a reason.
Moneyballed it.
But there's a reason that some teams just don't get it right. Like you got to be brilliant. You got to really know basketball. Like you got to know what you're looking for, what pieces work well with what your vision is.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's more about names than versus like what is a complete team.
Yeah.
Like me and Calvin Booth used to sit on the bus, on the bench, talking about like, you know, LeBron, what kind of player you think he is. Like we over here talking about LeBron we see today, we was talking about that shit in 2005. Mm-hmm. Like what do you think his last year gonna look like? And I'm like, shit, maybe 19, 6 and 5? What do you think? He's like, I don't know, he might be at the 23, 25. Yeah, we were sitting there doing that then, right? So watching the team he has makes perfect sense. Because that's how his brain works.
Yeah.
Right? So when you're talking about like building teams, you got to see who's the cook. Yeah. Who the fuck is the cook? Like if the cook can't cook, then y'all just gonna be spending money just on bad food.
But we knew that.
Shout out to Calvin Booth.
We knew that. We knew Philly was going to be bad chefs in the kitchen cooking up bullshit food, but we call it the process. Right? It's processed food. You got the processed food in there. Y'all selling the hot dogs and sausages and shit.
No. That might be the bar of the year right there.
I'm just saying. I called it a long time ago. I said, man, James Harden going to Philly with Doc Rivers after what they did to Ben with Darryl up there, disaster.
Wait, who the coach in Philly now?
Sixers fans, Philly fans.
Nick Nurse is the coach.
Yeah, Nick Nurse over. Yeah. We're talking about the team, not the city of Philadelphia.
Yes, we are talking about the city of Philadelphia.
Well, shit.
Don't do that, Evan. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Don't add that neither.
No.
Don't add that either.
I'm trying to go outside.
We can't go nowhere.
I remember like speaking through my boy Jermaine, who's good with Elton, and I remember I wrote something to him.
Jermaine a jeweler?
Yeah,
okay,
Jermaine.
That's my man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I wrote him. I was basically telling them they was gonna get skunked in Boston. Right? He thought I was bullshitting. Right? I'm betting at the time. Right? this is before underdog.
Before underdog fan, we don't bet on underdogs. We merely do pick'ems.
Right? So I'm betting. So I'm looking at the lines, and I'm like, they're about to get. They're not gonna win the game, right? I'm not gonna win the game. So I wrote it, boom, boom, boom. Y'all ain't gonna win. Like, you need Jimmy, like you fucked up with Jimmy, right? That was your actual alpha that kept your lazy alpha in check. So it was like Kobe to Shaq in a sense, right? Right? Without having someone who demands greatness, you let the lazy one, his talent is gonna always overexceed, but it's not gonna be good enough to take you over the top.
Yeah. Right.
So I was like, you fucked up there. Right? And then when he was talking about coaches, right? And when he went with Doc, Tyrone Lue was supposed to have that team.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
That would have been all right.
This is a true story. Doc sent Tyrone Lue to Philly, lobbied for him. This is your guy. This is a great coach. This is going to be good for you guys. Game 7? Doc found out he was getting fired, and that bubble run, right? Kawhi Leonard, like
that's the Nuggets. The Nuggets.
Yeah.
They was mad. Kawhi's mom, wasn't having that shit. They playing golf. They talking about the golf game and not the game. Oh nah, right? So he knew he was getting fired. Called Philly and said, "Yeah, I want the job now." I said, "Ooh."
That's power for your ass.
I said, you get back door like that, nothing good gonna happen from that. I said, what's gonna happen is he don't know how to coach a Ben Simmons type, and the city's gonna turn on Ben because you don't know how to tap into that type of potential. You gotta understand basketball to know what that type of player brings.
Yeah.
And Doc don't it showed in history he don't know how that player works, and he's gonna turn on him. And then once you get rid of him, you might as well get rid of Embiid and start over.
Yeah. Well, I mean, then, who you try to get? Cooper Flag? Like, you know what I mean? Like, when you start if you don't get one of them two, it's over for the next 10 years.
It's over for the next 10 years. All you do is just gonna be spitting out money to Embiid because he's gonna do good enough to get a max every year. Like, it's not. We're not talking.
Personality, they love him. It's his city. Like, don't get it twisted. Like, if you need something to really keep it going,
what I'm saying
he's keeping the lights on.
What I'm saying is, it's like as a city, okay, cool, right? As a city, cool. It's like, we got AI, cool. I mean, he's not the same type of force as AI was that's gonna give you 100 miles an hour every game. But, if you're talking about, okay, we're gonna put people in the seats style, cool. But y'all ain't gonna win, and I hope y'all don't have inspirations as a coach. I hope you ain't firing 52 coaches because the record is gonna be fucked up. Like, know what your team is. I can't win alone if he's my alpha.
So what do you do if you're Joel?
Joel, does he want to win? Yeah. Like, he needs a Dame mentality. Shit, he fuck around, he need a Westbrook style.
Yeah, Westbrook.
Like, he needs a Westbrook, right? Someone who's gonna demand, like, we're not doing that shit. Like, he's gonna need that type of personality because Joel.
Well, who's a young guy like that?
He is the type of person that does step up to that type of environment. Yeah. But if the environment's not there, it's just his environment.
Do you think there's a similarity between him and Dwight?
Yeah.
No.
Nah.
What was the difference between the two?
Dwight goes hard.
Yeah, Dwight was mean.
Practice, you better wear football, what's his name? Big dude. It was a big dude who was the backup center.
Tony
T? Nah.
Not Pat Garrity.
Nah, it was 2009, 10.
Oh, he had a Jordan tattoo.
Oh, Gortat.
He was gone. He was gone. Damn. But he had to wear, them, the little rubber.
We're gonna figure it out.
The little rubber like for yoga, the little yoga blocks?
Yeah. Yes.
He had to tape a yoga block to his chest.
I believe that.
You said 9-10? It wasn't Gortat?
No, 10-11. When I got
10-11? All right. See, you fucking up.
I'm sorry.
That's all good. We coming back.
It was Gortat, wasn't it?
Gortat was still there.
No, we got traded. Am I there?
Hold on, where you at?
Yeah, I'm right there. It was Malik Allen.
Okay.
Malik. He was hurting Malik Allen?
Malik
Allen's tough.
Malik Allen had to wear the rubber thing, had to tape it. You just had this bulge out because when Dwight, when the elbow was messing, he was hurting that dude.
Yeah,
right? But that's how practice was. So, like, Dwight was just, like, he was 500 push-ups a day. Like, he was an animal.
Yeah.
But he was just playful.
So what as far as expectations go?
His expectations was limited because when I got there, he was just tapping into offense. So he was just a defensive juggernaut, right? And that year where, me, Jason Richardson, Turkaluk's back, you got Jameer Nelson, you got, Bass, you have J.J. Redick, Ryan Nelson.
Ryan Anderson.
Right, yeah, Ryan Anderson. We got Duhan, and we have Quinn Richardson. So you got a team.
Yeah, solid.
Shooting team. So his offense was easier, right? So he dominated offense more. So he was like turning the corner on the off. But Coach.
Stan
wouldn't let him be a leader.
Right.
Like, so instead of him being a leader, he became more of a pacifier.
Yeah. So
just babying dudes. So he became the friend. Like, but if he said, "Yo, hey man, play motherfucking harder," everybody would, all right, shit, motherfucker.
So in comparison to the two, no one's telling Joel to play hard because he don't have the type of team that you guys had in Orlando where he needs the accountability.
Yeah, but I think the culture sometimes too, when he came in, he was so lovable and everything like that. Not in a certain instance, but just being there early on, I don't think they're just grateful to have Joel. You know what I mean? And to be honest with you, like, you heard some of the things, the first couple of seasons of his work ethic or how he felt. He wasn't really held to high accountability, but they also knew what type of level and what type of player he was, which he reached it. But the choice of coming out and playing hard every single night sometimes outside looking in, might not always be at a priority.
Right.
And that's crazy. But that's
talent too. I mean,
but that's the thing. I had Andre Bloch.
Yeah.
Right.
Man,
and if you
so
ever
good.
played if you played with Dre or played against him, you'd be like, God, dude's talented.
So
right?
lazy.
But it comes so. There's some people like it comes so easy to some people that they really don't tap into their ability.
Nick Young was an amazing
Like
talent.
Bobo.
Yeah, he was.
Like Bobo.
We starting
Because I'm just saying, I just like to go back to that. It comes so easy
That they don't tap into their ability.
It don't look like he give a fuck.
But that's
it
the
don't
thing.
look like it.
But that's the problem, because he look like he don't give a fuck, or he don't play like he give a fuck. But because it's so easy, they don't come to prepare every day.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about what made Michael great, what made Kobe great, what made the greats great, they had the natural gift, and they actually had the highest work ethic.
Yes, sir.
Right? So, when we sit here and say, oh, Shaq is this, Shaq that, but then we like, wait, well, Kobe had a whole nother thought process. Right? So, we sit here and he's like, yo, man, dude, lazy, but we're coming from a dude that was just a straight animal.
Yes.
Right? And sometimes we have to look at, like, now you say, all right, let's take Greek the Freak. We can see what he works out like. We give that to Joel Embiid. What does he become? Yeah. And people like, oh, he's gonna be the best basket. Yeah. Then why do you get mad if I call a nigga lazy then? I call him lazy. I'm like, how's he lazy? He's the MVP. Okay, give him Greek the Freak's work ethic. Oh, he'll be this.
But you see more in him than he sees in himself.
And they get mad at me for saying I see more in you. Like, I can see how, like, yo, just take it serious. Like, yo, say I want to be the best fucking center ever.
Yes.
Put that type of work in. Put that type of like pressure on yourself. Like, you averaging 32 just out of here. Hey, you're the ball.
Yeah. Easy work.
Easy work. Like, I've seen players like that. I be sitting there like,
niggas be tired, bro. It's 82 games, bro. They want to kick it and jump. I be tired, bro. You a lot of work.
But you're African, right?
I feel you. I'm right. At one point, like, I was coming off the bench and I'm like, man, I can't. Like, Dame would be averaging like 30. I'm like, bro, I know you tired, because that little 8 I did the other night put me on IR. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, woo. I'm glad you got this one. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm out of it.
But that's the part of, like, the work ethic, though. Being in the type of shape that allows that to be easy.
Yeah.
I used to walk through games. Yeah. Like, that shit, like, damn, oh, man, what we gonna do tonight? I got too much energy. Yeah. I got too much energy. Like, like, coach be subbing me out like, hell no. It's just,
right.
We need to go to double overtime. I'm trying to sleep tonight, bro.
Yeah.
I seen the players say, yo, don't take me out in the fourth quarter. And coach took him out in the fourth quarter. And he subbed out, and he just kept going past the bench. He just kept me. Locker room. I told you don't take me out in the fourth quarter.
Really?
Fam, I've seen that before.
What was the incentive like?
What you mean?
Just mean, like, was he getting extra money for fourth quarter points, or like what was it?
Like, he's the type of person that if he say don't take him out in the fourth quarter, don't take him out in the fourth quarter.
Or it's your ass, Mr. Postman. For sure.
I was gonna, that got to be like AI. That's the only person who got that kind of power.
Nah, I seen Ricky Davis do it. Yeah, I seen Ricky Davis definitely. Fuck you, bring him. Walk straight to the goddamn. But he faked the shit. Came like, I went to the bathroom. No, if
I got subbed out, I'm just subbing back in.
You doing that?
You walk right back up.
What?
You walk right back up.
Yeah, you got the wrong player.
No, I've done that before.
I just sub somebody else.
No, I've done that before.
Somebody else.
I've done that before. Like, I've joked and be like, no, I'm not coming out. No, I ain't coming out, I'm serious. And then I'm like, no, I'm just playing. Now I'll come out. But then I'm watching the score like, hey, man, like, what y'all, all right. You good? I was like, I'm going in right now. Oh, yeah, like, no. Like, yo, put me in the game.
Right now.
Like, right now.
You
see what's happening, right? Like,
nah,
come on.
It be, walk right back to the bench, and I'll just sub out who I think should be out.
Damn.
Motherfucker, I hit 7 straight shots. It's crazy as hell. Out.
Real shit.
Now he gonna have to call a timeout. Even if he gonna waste no time.
I know who I'm going in for. Like, yo, I'm going in, all right? I'm just letting you know I'm going in. And so it ain't got to be nothing, no negative energy, but like it's time for me to go back in right now. All right, yo, you out. Me? Yeah, come out.
Why do coaches do that shit though? Like you score 7 straight, and you're not tired, you're not off. Why do you sub the nigga that's
Because that sheet say how
you're not about to mess up their rotation.
Yeah,
That's whack.
That sheet in that rotation.
And then they wondering why you upset, because you over there like, what the fuck is going on? I just hit 7 straight.
Yeah, but then they be like, no, it's only 2 dudes I'm worried about. Him and him. And then everybody else gets in line.
They sit there, but that's
you know what I mean?
But that lets me know, like when I watch coaches, I say, man, stop trying to save your job on your staff. Right? You pick your friends. Like you pick people you know wouldn't try to get your job. Nah, I want all people that's smarter than me. Right? Because they're becoming a point where you're watching a game and you're not watching the game.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? We see you motherfuckers up there doing this, but you don't know he's on fire. You don't know the tendencies, and you're subbing people out because you're sitting there looking, oh shit. And then you got to make a sub where the coach be like, well, no, sit your ass down. You good. No, just keep. They on the heater right now. Like you don't want to fuck the heat up by sub this motherfucker. Now, this motherfucker over here playing flip the motherfucking bottle, and you want to sub him in the game.
Now, Gil, I've done that. They like, Andre, you went, nah, fam, they rolling, fam.
Yeah. Chill, let them roll.
I've done that too, yeah.
Nah, I go in when one of them miss.
Yep.
2 times in a row.
That's hooper shit though. We know that.
I'm not getting in the way.
And
then you have to remind them, looking at me, I'm like, fam, I'm not getting mad, fam. The lead is where it's supposed to be. As long as they keep it, I'm cool. Now, if it come down, I got you.
Right.
Like I remember
next time out.
We used to have, it was Juan Dixon and Steve Blake.
Oh, wow.
Right, we'll be down 17, 19, put them 2 in.
They get it back.
Oh my God.
Microwave.
Right, like, man. And there'd be times where coach be like, sub in, I'd be like, man. Like, the way they shoot, I want to be with them. I want to be with them. I win the 3.
For sure.
You know, because they just had this spirit between the two of them. They just understood each other. And I don't care what that lead was, them 2 cut it down every single time.
They play together in college.
Yeah.
I know, but like when you see it in the game, like he was like,
it's nice.
dang, damn.
Yeah, that's nice.
Right? And then that'd be sometimes where like, Steve, I'm sorry, bro, you ain't getting in today.
Not today, bro.
I'm not subbing. I'm not. Right? And I know, like, if he came in at the point and I had to go to the 2, I know it wasn't the same. And he'd be looking over at 1, like, come on, man, hurry up and get this motherfucker out of here. Oh, these niggas plotting against but it was sometimes where you'd sit there and I'd be like, as much as I want to go in, I can't fuck the rhythm up because I understand it as a player when it happens, and I hate when it happens to us. But coaches don't be watching. Yeah. Like, what y'all be doing up there?
I know, even as a second unit player, it's like you might come back and be like, bro, we in this position because they weren't on shit.
At all.
As a second unit dude, you treat us how you treat us. So it's like, all right, bro. But like, we know the vocabulary pauses inside you. Like, sit their ass down and if we trying to win a game is just called. Also, too, basketball's a game of runs.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And like rhythm and feel and that type shit. So sometimes like the people that fuck it up the most are the coaches. You know what I'm saying?
Steve Kerr, so funny. Steve Kerr, you can see he was in tune with the team because there'd be some times where that second unit has a lead and then cut it down and then they'll call a timeout and he'll come back with the same second unit. Yeah, he wouldn't sub nobody out, and then they'll take the lead out and everybody just shit. I'm like,
yeah, but that first unit, they'll fuck around and shoot you out, too. You might look in their eyes and be like, bro, what are you doing?
Hey, why you shooting that
4 for 28?
And keep shooting that shit.
Draymond wrestling everybody and then
fouling and shit.
This is real shit. The 2015 championship. Starting 5 against Cleveland starting 5 was minus 30-something.
Yeah. It was, right?
Fuck yeah, they got their ass. The starting 5 got their ass whooped by Cleveland starting 5. It was the bench. It was the bench that outplayed.
Harrison in there? Harrison was starting?
Come on.
Yeah.
All right, we can cancel
that was you.
I wasn't starting.
No, he wasn't starting.
Off the bench. I'm talking about the second.
Game 4,
it was
right?
you,
Game 4, 5, 6.
Livingston,
Me,
you,
Sean. You know who
Barbosa.
David West?
Barbosa.
David West.
Even in 2016, when they weren't scoring, Barbosa was killing.
Barbosa was cooking.
Yeah, y'all was plus. The second year was like plus like it was like 60 to 9. It was something crazy.
They was giving Shump and the Dover hell, huh?
Man, those spades, boy.
That second year, because you remember Kyrie went out.
Yeah, he broke his kneecap.
Love went out, so they didn't really have the bench.
Yeah, they
didn't really have a bench, and that sub came out, and it was just torturous. Like, fuck, the second unit's fucking them up.
Bro, y'all was losing to that team?
Yeah.
Like plus minus?
No, yeah.
No disrespect to them, but that's crazy.
I mean, that's how good Bron is.
No, I'm not knocking. I just didn't realize that literally everybody was hurt. Love and Kyrie
but
was
think about
going,
it. Who the starting
that is
five?
how
Think about the
good
starting
Bron
five,
is,
though.
bro.
Steph didn't play very well that series. Klay didn't.
And
Klay didn't play very well that series.
Yeah, Klay was never really.
Dre, something I always wanted to ask you.
Like I said, that unit didn't play very well.
No, that's real.
Hence why.
But you won the Finals MVP. You know, I'm heavy on Twitter. I see the way some Warriors fans talk. Do you feel like you deserve that Finals MVP for what you were able to do?
I had a really good conversation with Trevor Ariza. Shout out to Trevor.
TA.
That's TA. It's my man. Because we spent some time in LA. I mean, in Miami. We played in Miami together for a year. So it's funny. I've been on TA since high school. Hassan Adams was my roommate.
Okay, I saw. Yeah.
And TA, they played together at Westchester.
Yep.
So I've been on them since Nike camp. And TA and I got the really chance to lock in, and I was joking one day. I wasn't joking, but I was being serious. Because you know how we in the league for so long, and you see all the nasty stuff that goes on behind closed doors in the league, and you kind of lose the love of, like, accolades. Like, we love the game of basketball. You went through it. I've said this about you many a time.
All the time. You say
In the
I'm
book.
like, yo, Rashad McCants one of the best basketball players I ever seen.
You say this all the time.
I ever seen.
No,
We got the book over there. We know.
Stop,
We don't proceed, but no. I say the same shit.
No, but he stopped like tables and be like, no. If people ask, he'd be like, Kobe, Rashad McCants is the best basketball player I ever seen. I'm
And
like,
so
He deserved a crown.
You see what goes on in the league sometimes, and it's like, fam, like sometimes it don't even be about who. And so I don't really appreciate certain things the way I should just because the other stuff weighs on it. And I'm just like, man, I don't really care. So I always say like Steph deserved, I think he did deserve one before the one he got.
Yeah.
Right? I did think he deserved one. So I always say like, if it was mine, like cool. I know the impact I had on the game, but I don't need anyone to tell me that I did.
Right.
Like I'm cool with that because my whole career was based on that. I never made a first team all defensive team.
It's crazy.
I think I made
You won. You made
my
one.
first one was in Golden State.
2014, I want to say.
The 13-14 season,
Yeah.
right? First time, right?
I researched around here.
The only reason I made the Olympic team in 2012 is because Kobe Bryant was like, this is the best defender in the league.
Period.
And I never made an all defensive first team. And then I'd say Drew Holiday is the best defender in the league the last 10 to 15 years. Drew just got like a first team defensive team like 2 years
even
ago.
Lucas said this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like,
And then
KD said it.
Yeah, and then every team he's been on has been top 5 defensively.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's-
So like that's
Because it's the matrix that they're picking. Like, what is it? Like, what are y'all determining?
Yeah, so I say all that to say, like, man, I don't even care. Like, yeah, Steph should have had mine. Like, I don't really care. Like, I think Steph should have had it. But then I'm talking to Trevor Ariza. He was like, bro, you bugging.
Yeah.
Like, don't ever say that ever again. And once Trevor said that to me, he kind of checked me. He was like, yo, dog, like,
You bugging.
we were in Houston and we knew if you played well, y'all were going to beat us.
Period.
But the average fan who argues with all our opinions every day, they don't know what the best players in the world are saying. Like, and when Trevor said that, he was like, Dre, I'm in Houston and we can't get past y'all because you. And I'm like, man, Steph is cooking. He was like, no, bro, if you're having a good game, we can't win. And so I was like, man, and then sometimes this is why this is my best friend. Like people be like, what's like, how are you and Evan so cool? I'm like, first of all, we think alike, we laugh about the same things. We might have a different perspective, but we get to the same place. But this is one of the dudes who was like, if I need to like understand who I am or I need some confidence, everything. I say this about my son, like, bro, you too humble, bro. You can't make it to the league this humble. Like, you got to think crazy. You got to think you better than you actually are. Just go get it. And he always did that for me. He's just like, you know who you are? You let somebody tell you what you're gonna do today? You know how much you work? Right?
Really?
Fuck, like, man, it's
I be
over.
think you got a
Cover
point.
my ears. Fuck with, way worse has happened in society besides what I want. All right? And what I want is feasible. It ain't nothing crazy. I ain't bothering nobody. Like, what you want, you should be able to get it, bro. And call it a day.
So with TA's conversation, I was like, no, I know exactly what I did in that series. So yeah, it's where it's supposed to be. At the house.
At the crib.
No, that's no.
Joe,
And
what did Max Kellerman say?
I
want Iguodala.
But what's so funny? But if you think about like the part I add, that the starting five was getting their ass whooped, right? Now, if they're going by the same thing that I was looking at, then it is the second unit. Because the starting five, you lost.
Yeah.
You lost. You lost.
You lost.
So let's
Straight
go
up.
give it to LeBron.
Yeah.
But the only thing I will argue, there is a Curry effect.
Yeah.
There is a Curry effect.
Yeah, no. Listen,
There is.
he played. If he won, I don't think he would have appreciated it because I don't think he thought he did enough to really like.
Taking over the top.
Curry. It wasn't the Curry style, right?
And Dover was damn near was in the running too for MVP, low key.
No,
Like,
seriously.
to be honest with you, and long story short, bro, like we forget sometimes that like, not saying he's a middle of pack player, but like, if it falls down this low, you deserve it. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like the past one or two, they were supposed to get it. It was set up to get it. Media set up to get it and everything. Like, if it came down this low, it ended up, no offense.
No, I get it. No, it makes sense.
That's where it's supposed to be at. Like, nah, shut that shit up. Like, he gonna get the next 4 or 5 years for you to write about him and like, he'll figure it out. But like, other than that, it's my shit.
Cavs up 2-1. You come in the starting lineup game 4. Y'all win next 3 games.
Bro.
So say whatever you want.
What was,
And
what was the thought process
On
bringing you off the bench?
it made sense. Because we go into training camp, and I've said it before, like, I was actually pissed. I just handled it the right way.
Yes, sir.
And so I had a really good training camp. Like, I remember this training camp because I was, like, cooking. I had, like, a first procedure done in my career. It wasn't surgery, but I had, like, a knee procedure. Like, I had a partially torn something. And so I took the whole summer off, and I was just getting ready for the next year. I was supposed to play in the World Championships, didn't do none of that. And I had a really good training camp. And Steve was like, my team didn't lose that training camp. And you know how doing too good works against you? I'm with the second unit winning. Did me in. I'm like,
Nah, but
oh, damn. And so it was a much better fit for our team for me to come off the bench with the second unit. We were a way better team with me coming off the bench, and Harrison Barnes should have been starting for the type of team we had, because he wouldn't have been able to be who he truly could be coming off the bench, because there was nobody around him that can help him be who he was. But in the first group, Harrison can be Harrison, and Harrison's going to be super valuable for us.
Now
but what helped Harrison too? During that time, I don't know who Harrison's PR dude was, but during that time, Harrison had a crazy media push around that time too. People were waiting for like, Harrison to explode. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, come, like straight
your ball game is
only get 4 though.
Yeah, my fault.
Only get 4. You maxed out.
Whenever I hear it, I'm just waiting for the next line. What's coming next?
Like, pause, but like, am I lying? During that time, I remember just sitting at the crib and hearing like Harrison Barnes killing everybody in the gym. Harrison Barnes doing this. I'm like, damn, for real? For real? Then he hits me and he's like, I'm coming off the bench. And I'm like, bro, how?
Right.
Like, how? To who, to where, to why? And he's like, well, for Harry, I'm like, I dig you, but like, that was crazy.
Well, it made sense because of just how I played.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I can play the 1, I can play the 4.
Yeah.
Like, I played the 5 in the finals versus the Lakers in Miami in the bubble. I'm like, well, how am I guarding AD?
No, you know, so that gives us the question though. When we always ask who makes who? Does the players make the coach, or does the coach make the players? Right? In this instance, the player made the coach. The player made the team because you're doing something in the second unit that's making him say,
I gotta play him.
I think we're this. this move right here makes the second unit.
But
you
some
gotta
coaches would
acknowledge
get in their way and won't do it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You got to acknowledge it too.
Like Mark Jackson, when Mark Jackson have done it. And that's not a knock on Mark. Mark would be like, because I was there with Mark. Mark was like, man, you starting.
Yeah.
You. Mark would say that. Like, 'cause I never asked to start when I came there. I'm like, I got to start. Mark was like, you never told me you got to start. That's the only way you would come here. Because most players would say, if I come here, am I starting? I wasn't thinking about that. But Mark was like, man, the thing I like about you most is you came here and you didn't say nothing about starting. And he was like, we had some folks who thought this about you, thought that about you, where you would be on the team. He was like, I'm glad you showed them. And so would Mark have made that move? You can really ask that question. And not to say he's a bad coach, but sometimes those types of decisions, can make or break.
Well, let's go back to this though, the MVP. I go back and look at the games, those last 3 games, right? Bro, you changed the game. When you look at the last game, right, the closeout, it was undeniable. Looking at the game, you hit big shots, you played great defense. There was nobody else who was going to take the team to where it needed to be to close the game out. So to get the trophy, it was like everybody was expecting it to go to a certain person.
Right.
But if you were a hooper and you watching the game, it was like there was no chance for them to win this game without Dre. No chance.
They would have won more if you would have made free throws. For real.
We didn't lose none, missing none.
No, I'm not saying not missing, but I'm saying
just making more.
I'm saying Dre would have averaged 28, 29, 30.
Easy.
No funny. Like that's at what level he was playing at for that week. Like that was.
Yeah,
OD.
we tried. I mean,
like,
the refs
like,
tried
now
to
know
give,
this.
listen,
Like
the refs
OD.
tried to give Cleveland that game.
You saw that?
Yes.
I watch everything.
Yes.
Fam.
Oh yeah, we had
They was trying to
Allegedly.
Hey, we had Klay Thompson foul trouble. Yeah, y'all got you too quick with. Get him out.
Because I'm playing in the game and it's just one ref. I'm like, fam, I ain't never been disrespected like this in my life. Like, you serious?
For real.
And I got ejected last year. I only been ejected like 2-3 times in my career. And I got ejected for telling the ref, like, fam, I saw Netflix. Like,
Yo.
Oh, hey.
Yo.
but I was spotlighted in that.
Watch it. We all watch Netflix. Great show.
I was spotlighted in my actual game.
Yeah.
I fouled out. I had like 6 points. I fouled out. And we played in Philly. Like, me fouling out with 6 points as the franchise player, I'm getting called a bum. And I'm going looking at the refs like, I'm looking at my coach, he's looking at me like, young man, calm down. I'm like, what you mean calm down? Like, what's going on this court right now? Like, I just fouled out and I only played 12 minutes. Like, we down by 40. Kevin Ollie was our leading scorer that game. I'm like, I'm crazy.
KO.
Then when we go into contract negotiations, it was like, well, your bad games are really bad.
Yo, what?
This is supposed to be in the Supreme Court. Am I right or wrong? But if I say, as players, we can't say so. You just got to play along. You got to play the game. But when you think about it, it's like, how many games was this happening?
Real
I'm
shit.
like,
You currently have no association with the league, obviously.
No, I mean, because I was betting then.
I looked at my man. I looked at one ref and I'm cool with him. Something happened. I'm like, yo, y'all for real? Y'all cool?
For real?
I was like, y'all good? He was like, I'm like, come on, man. The game over, fam. We gonna win, fam. Like, no, come on, man. Don't do this to me, man. Like, you gonna break my whole spirit. Don't do this.
And they give us sex for it. But did you feel that game, that last game where fouls was being called?
No, I tell people all the time, I was like, listen, the closeout game is the hardest game in your life. And they be like, why? And I can't say. I can't say, but I'm like, no, fam, listen, like, this is the hardest game you'll ever play in your life. And EB told you.
Yeah, it's shit. Nah, I'll tell it. Like,
Go ahead.
You got to be the vehicle.
The vehicle.
You got to be the vehicle.
No, it's real though.
No, I remember we were about to play Game 7, 2012. So we were about to play the Celtics or whatever.
Game 7.
So I'm hype as hell. I'm like, yeah, bro, we got a Game 7. Like, woo out the bam. Like, this is going to be lit. So Eldon's like, we're going to have to win by 15 just to win by 1. So I'm like, what you mean? He's like, bro, this is the NBA. It's entertainment. Like, LeBron is and the Heat are waiting. would you rather watch the Celtics or the Sixers play the Heat? I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm on the team. I wouldn't even watch the Sixers play the Heat type shit. Like,
you gotta appreciate it.
but mind you, I'm young, 22, 23. I'm like, damn, you know what I mean? So it's like, so we get in this game, you know how much money the NBA is gonna lose? Like this, you know, type shit. I'm like, I guess, like a decent amount. It's like, would you watch that game next week if it was a Heat versus the Sixers? I'm like, nah. It's like, okay then. So like, that's why I'm telling you, take M's and M's from this. I'm like, what? He's like, millions of memories, because this is entertainment.
Damn, that's a bar.
And he said, as long as you know that, don't act like your OG ain't tell you.
That's crazy.
That was my second year, 2012. I remember sitting there.
Ellen used to give me crazy.
But that's what I said.
No, that's real. He said,
You got to win by 15 because you have to
win by one.
You have to be up so much that don't affect it.
And he's just like, they're well aware of the storyline. It's not like nothing like, it's a consumer base. Like I understand everything. Like we all love it. But like when you sit there, it's just real shit to know. When I would go into certain games, I tell young dudes the same thing. Like, yo, we got to win by 15 and win by 1. And I understand it. Like shit, they gotta get that. We all got, and you know, when we go to the union, we all like, how the money turn out? What the TV money turn out? Like when y'all ran through everybody early, we
was pissed.
We had to get back something. Like you know what I mean? The TV money dropped. We like, it's fucking up the league.
Yeah.
They're fucking up the bread.
Because because Golden State was the hardest. You guys were the hardest team for Vegas because with Steph and Klay, because they can come down and just chuck.
Yep.
There was no way of using a whistle against them.
Yeah.
So what you try to do is try to penalize them and get them in foul trouble. See, you can go to the rim and I just not call a foul.
Yeah.
I'm not blowing that whistle, right? But you take a three, like fuck, right? You hit them threes. Now I got to try to when Steph do one of those foul. That's when them fucking mouthpieces be coming out. Doing shit like that. You be doing that. Get him out. Like you be doing that shit to hurry up and get him out. Like.
But you got to though, because when we played Portland, like we played them in 2019, bro. We have 3 straight games by like 17, bro.
They were
like,
by 17 or more.
All 4 games. The third, bro. Literally, by the first time out, it'd be the lead would be down at like 3, and you be sitting here like, oh shit, it's 10:28 left in the third.
Too much time.
So like, bro, when I tell you dangerous, we used to say this all the time, and be like, bro, this lead don't matter. And literally, by the first time out, them beige boys would come out. Shoot you out of house and homes.
I'm hitting Dame. I'm hitting Dame. I'm DMing Dame. I said, look, your game plan is bad.
You got to stall.
I said, your game plan is bad.
When you got 4 corners. I said 4 corners, nigga. 4 corners.
That's when you run a flex or something. Like,
no. I said with Golden State, what happens when they're down a lot, focused only on Klay. Klay has no conscience. He has no thought process of score time or nothing.
He fake like good.
So he's the only one that's gonna just shoot without thought, right? He's not gonna think, if I miss these 2, we're gonna be down 2. So what ends up happening is, when you look at the lead being cut, it's only one person. What happens is, once this one person gets hot, it triggers Steph. Once it starts getting around 3-2, Steph is gonna be the one that hits the tie, and then the one that hits the go over. Now y'all gotta call timeout.
And you feel like and what was so crazy about these, you felt like you were being chased.
Yeah.
So once they made 1, you be like, oh shit.
Here they come.
And then they 2, it's like,
Here they come.
It's like 3, it's like, call the time. Like, call the time. Come get these niggas. Like, what? Niggas not. And then before you know it, you're like, come on, bro. We did all this work an hour ago.
And we down.
We down 15.
I said,
bro, it was the most unbelievable thing. Like, during that time was just dominance. I know I say it was lame, but like, it was so dominant, bro. I'm talking about like 3 straight games up 17
more,
in 2 minutes is over.
Yep.
They swept us.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Without KD.
Without KD.
Crazy.
I told him, I said
You were hurt, basically.
I got hurt
right?
game 3 and 4.
Yep.
And them boys came from that series shooting like 38%.
Yeah.
Like they weren't even hot.
They weren't even hot,
And they literally just...
You talk about that Steph Curry effect, but just that Splash Brothers effect, and just to take the will from other teams. Like, probably 2 of the most likable assholes, I'll say, if they're not on your team, just the shit they do, because they seem like nice human beings.
No, it's so weird. They're so different, but they're the same. And I always say, like, it's just like lightning striking the same place twice. Like, it'll never happen. And that it just happened with our run, or their run. You get Klay and Steph from their backgrounds. They both grew up in the league.
Yep.
So don't nothing faze them.
Nope.
People don't think about like how you're raised, and like we're all humans based on our traumas. We all react to how our traumas are. And both of them grew up in the league, so they don't care about fanfare. They don't care about celebrity.
I met Kobe as a kid.
Right, they like, whatever, like that don't impress them, right? And then they know how to play basketball. Like they grew up watching their parents play at the highest level, so they see it, regardless if they came on late or not. They were both late bloomers, but they grew up in the NBA. And so they have a certain disposition about themselves to where they understand, like, man, I'm getting my 22 attempts. The ball gonna find a hole. I'm one of the best of all time. Like, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. And they both actually have a chip because they were late bloomers. So they was like, man, all y'all that were picking on us when we were kids, because we were small and we weren't phenoms, this our payback. So they do got that competitive fire. Like Steph got a crazy fire. Loon always say it. Oh, we got North Carolina point guard tonight. Steph gonna get 40. I was like, what? Look up. Oh, he got 45. Right? Klay, when he sees certain people, I'm like, oh, okay. So they have that. It's just like a perfect storm. And then
Who's Clay's guy he go after? I want to know.
you know, Klay from Southern California.
Santa Margarita, OC, yeah.
So it's like them Southern California,
count for them
them
Washington
California dudes, them California dudes that played in the Pac-10, or you know they could have played in the Mountain West,
Okay.
and they get all the love and the fanfares. It's like, all right,
James Harden them.
He went to Washington State too. That's the whole. If you can imagine having to play at Washington State and literally go to
Right.
school there and literally have to play the bulk of your games in college.
you got a chip on your shoulder.
Near Moscow, Idaho, just like, you know, you stay in that fucking Best Western with the brick wall and shit. I'm just saying,
How
like,
do you remember all
He remembered.
I remember that.
I was chilling.
I remember the
You LA,
Hey, you remember the cities when you was soloing, that's for
Like,
sure.
literally, we didn't even stay in Poole. We stayed in Moscow, Idaho, literally in a janky ass
I'll
brick
never
wall.
forget, like, I'm from Illinois, and so I grew up around, I saw cornfields. Like, I saw cornfields. It was everywhere. But when I saw, like, big fields that were brown, I'm like, why is it brown everywhere? Like, what is it, just dirt? They're like, no, them potato fields. I'm like, oh, man, it's depressing. Like, you don't even see color.
Color.
And I'm like, why are we in Idaho if we play in Washington State? And then that's when I was like, oh, who wants to go to school here? It's crazy, right?
That's the chip on his shoulder. That's the chip.
Fucking
He had to go
Tony
there.
Bennett, Dick Bennett playing that nasty Big Ten 50-point a game shit.
Y'all ain't like that? The Big Ten joint?
Bro,
Nah, just show.
we like
that
to
shit.
score baskets around here.
Yeah,
I'm
nah,
just
that's
saying,
right.
but you know, like that shit, it works. But we're gonna be dealing with it now, obviously. Y'all going Big 12 now?
We going Big 12.
Ooh, so y'all got a different.
Y'all going Big 12?
Yeah, I don't know what's going to
Y'all
happen
might
in
have a
college
chance.
basketball.
That might be all right.
I mean, it's part of the top 4 revenue-generating conferences.
Shit, there's only 4 left.
Yeah.
Shit,
Hey,
bro.
what are other teams? What teams there?
So Big 12? Yeah, like Texas, Baylor.
Yeah, that's gonna be good for
TCU,
y'all.
y'all should
That's gonna be
straight.
good for y'all.
Oh, we choose
TCU,
Texas good.
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma solid.
Oklahoma.
We're
Baylor?
We're a West Coast team, so we move fast.
Yeah.
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 I'm straight.
I mean, Texas move.
I'm straight, I guess.
Texas do.
Baylor move.
Baylor solid.
Yeah, Baylor got a lot of pros coming in there.
Yeah,
They-
We got a lot of defensive players. Oh, hustle ass guys. Probably New Jersey somewhere.
New Jersey. New Jersey.
Oh, New
Baylor.
Jersey.
East Coast, them East Coast, you know.
Trenton is a beautiful city. Nah, but let's talk a little bit. You spent the entirety of your 30s with the Warriors, minus 2 years with the Heat. So when you look at Spo versus Steve Kerr and just those two franchises, obviously they feel like they're both the peak in terms of what they do,
Yep.
in terms of culture, producing players, and getting to that level. Obviously, he hasn't got a chip yet, but the Warriors got 4. How would you compare those two different franchises?
And so, I gain a different type of respect for both of them. When you go to Miami, if you don't really know what you're getting into, you in for like a rude awakening. It's just like a Full Metal Jacket, the movie. I just saw that recently, like 3 years ago. So I'm like, oh. So it's like a culture shock. But when you really tap into what it is, and so I always speak highly, because when I first got there, I'm like, yo, y'all wildin'. Like I got 3 chips the complete opposite way. And so, why I gotta be like this? But once I was in there, We would go to the finals in the bubble. And then even the next year we didn't have such a great year, but I said to myself, if I'm ever in a position to run a team, I'm taking like 95% of this. You don't hear players get in trouble in Miami.
Never.
That's all you need to know. Who get in trouble? And not that it can't happen, but players don't get in trouble down in Miami.
Out of all places.
Right,
Out of all the places. You don't see guys getting in trouble down in Miami. Fam, Pat got it on lock. And I read Pat's book before I got there. It's called Winners Within. Pat got a good book. And Pat is like, no, I'm here and I'm in the business of winning. And you just spoke about Kobe, you spoke about MJ. They have the most talent and they have the greatest respect of the game with the competitive spirit. They are competing. And Miami does such a great job. I don't want to give away their formula, but they track guys all the way from like freshman, sophomore year of high school. And they are identifying Heat players from then. And they track you your entire career, even if you never get there. So when free agency comes or trades come up, they already got their list of guys. They're not just trading for anybody. It's like, all right, we got to take this guy. Cool, we going to take him, but we know we shipping him off in a couple weeks anyway.
You know they did at the Bobo. You know Miami traded him.
No one knows that.
They drafted him.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
They're
the ones who drafted him and traded him.
They know what they doing down there. And you talk about who cooking, they got Bobby Flay in the kitchen, whipping. And he building the next Bobby Flay, and he building and so it'd be interesting to see who takes over after him, or really after Spo, because Spo got it. You know,
I got this jersey on, man.
And they know their each individual knows their weaknesses. Like Spo got a weakness, but he got somebody next to him, so it doesn't man, it's just a machine down there, and I ain't got nothing but like the ultimate respect for them, because like for one, the players don't get in trouble, and they gonna make you tap in a part of yourself that you never thought you could tap into. Like they gonna make you go deep within and say, listen, we either gonna get the most out of you, or you can take your ass on somewhere else. And why wouldn't you want to get the most out of yourself? Like I see them young guys working, man. I'm like, boy, they working y'all ass to death.
To death.
But when them young boys get on the court, they hooping. And the one thing I would do for the guys is that I brought something different. And I would tell them, man, y'all work too damn hard to not go out there and have fun and hoop.
Facts.
And so that was the thing with Miami where I always said, because there's like, it's not like you can't enjoy it. They say, no, you only have joy when you win. And I'm like, okay, that I'm taking with me too. But young fellas, like you in the NBA, you doing something that's never, like most people ain't never did. It's only 5,000 NBA players, period, on earth. Period, 5,000. When you get on that court, like, go smile, go have some fun. Like, you working too damn hard to not go out. Don't be stressed on the court. You already took care of the stress. And I felt like that helped us a whole lot getting to the finals in a bubble. But, like, I ain't got nothing but respect for them. They gonna make you the best player you can possibly be. Now, with the Warriors on the other end, Steve is just like, listen, if you come into work every day, you come into practice and you work hard, life is easy. All I want you to do is lock in. And Steve is like, this is cool, relaxed, laid-back vibes. Like, just come in. This is our escape from the BS and the rest of the world. We gonna have fun. But all I ask you to do is play hard. And it's just like, that's all you want? You just want me to play hard and you gonna make it fun? And he's like, yeah. We mess around me playing wiffle ball, throwing footballs, shit in practice. We be doing all kind of crazy stuff. But it's like, nah, just respect the game, do what I ask. And it's two totally different approaches. But I mean, you gotta respect it when you in there, because it's like, but Steph's the catalyst of it too. When you talk about, like, is the coach making a player, the player making a coach? DeMarcus Cousins came in, and we know DeMarcus' history, you know, the perception. And DeMarcus is like, man, Steph, you practice every day? You practicing this hard all the time? He's like, damn, I can't say nothing. Everybody go to the Warriors, just fall in line.
Yep.
Because the head honcho.
Lead by example. Don't start.
You go ahead and ask it. No, you go ahead and ask it.
Lead by example.
Start with me. Lead by example. Certain type of leaders, right?
Yes.
Right. We had a conversation about leaders, and my take and perspective was that the main leader or the leader of the team is the best player because he leads by example. He don't have a choice but to be the leader. But there are vocalists, there are other key components to leadership on a team. But there is that one guy. He was that guy. You was that guy. You was that guy where when you out there and niggas was looking like, how hard is the best player working? We got to work like this because he's paving the way for us. He's the best player, right? But then there's a guy next to you like a Calvin Booth or Greg Buckner or that's talking the way to the young fellas, telling them boom, boom, boom. But we can't follow your lead if you over here with us, right? We can only do so much for your leadership. But when Steph is out there, like DeMarcus said, this is how I literally looked at KG. Like, KG was leading and working as hard as he was working, the way he was doing that, there's no way I cannot do what he's doing and expect the success that he's got.
And it's on the small stuff. When your main guy is trying to win sprints, that do something different to the rest of the team. Like, oh, he trying to win the sprints every time? It's like, and then the coach can just, that's a coach's dream. I'm cursing all y'all out. If my star player is winning the sprints every time, you mean to tell me you can't run as hard as you can? And this dude carrying us 82 nights, you said, man, I'm tired. The man in practice, I didn't even know. You said this to me when I left. You were like, Dre, I'm just realizing, fam, you bled the league in minutes and you practice for 2 hours every day. Cause I ain't know no better. Nobody told me like, come on, fam, you play 42 minutes a game. You're not supposed to be practicing like this every day. And I was just like, I ain't know. I just thought I was just supposed to be out here all the time. You know what I mean? It's just your competition. You know, it's either you got it, but what if you don't got it? And that's the question that I think he asked for Embiid. Like, why hasn't he lived up to or put himself in the position to be who you think we all know he could be in terms of like the way he presents himself?
He's not a leader.
But he is.
He's not.
He just doesn't work at the leadership level. He doesn't work. If he had that motor, those people would follow his. See,
is that innate?
If they're following him now, if they're following him now, right? If they're following him now, he's still the best player, right? If they're following his lead right now, it's not enough.
Yeah, but at the same time, that's what happens.
It's not enough to get them over the hump.
Yeah,
but he's not. But I mean, he's not leading.
He's not a good leader.
Yeah, but he was never taught to lead. He was always around a bunch of young dudes. So when it comes down to it, like, how is he supposed to know that shit?
Exactly.
Like, it's so much he don't know. I'm not saying you pick it up naturally or like innate, but like, how are you supposed to know if you've been around a bunch of 22-year-olds your whole career and literally they're rebuilding the process and the one leader you had was for 4 months, which was Jimmy Butler, quote unquote.
See, that's what I said. So if Jimmy was the butler and he leaves, Embiid don't inherit leadership because you're the best player. You was the best player when Jimmy was there.
But he didn't have the accountability Jimmy was trying to give.
No, but what I'm saying is, if Jimmy's there, Jimmy's not the best player on the team, but he's the leader of the team. So when the leader leaves, we just don't give you the leadership because you're the best player. You were the best player.
But I do think Jimmy. I talked to Jimmy about this, and Jimmy was saying, you know, the best player on the team should get the most shots. Yeah. He was like, on this team, on Miami, I should get the most shots. He was like, in Philly, who was the best player on the team? And I'm thinking like, Jimmy, you crazy as hell. I don't know who you think the best player on the team. You tell me. Jimmy was like, Joel Embiid, the best player on the team. And so I do think Jimmy would have held him to that standard to lead us.
Yes, I agree. That would have rose his
but you're arguing on both sides.
Arguing.
No, what I'm saying, you're talking on both sides. You're talking about my point and your point at the same time.
Not. I was only talking about my point. I'm not even.
What was your point?
That leadership comes from the best player, bro.
But is that true? Do you think the best player is always the leader on the team?
I don't think.
I don't think.
No. I don't think that's the case whatsoever. It's not. No, it's not. But at the same time, it's a personality thing. Like some of the dudes.
But we only go as far as our leader takes us.
But look, it's a perspective. You don't have to agree. You don't have to agree. You don't have to agree. You don't. This is my perspective. That's what the fuck I think. So y'all can say, well, I don't necessarily agree with you. I believe that because the best player doesn't pick whether he's the leader.
So here's a question for you, Dre. Playing with the Warriors, from an outside fan perspective, it's the assumption that Draymond's the leader of that team because he's the most vocal. He's the guy that rallies behind. But we also talk about Steph. So when it comes down to it, Steph the leader, is Dre the leader, or is it more of a leader by committee type thing?
I feel like with the Warriors, you have Steph is the leader. Steph is the head honcho. I think Draymond would say that. But Draymond has a load of the leadership that makes that team. And that's what makes him great. Him and Jimmy are very similar. Because you always look back and say, how is Jimmy getting it done? He can't shoot threes. He can't go left. Whatever. No, I'm saying whatever they say about Jimmy, he figuring it out. I'm like, I seen him dribble with his right hand left and then pull up for three against Milwaukee this year. It was going crazy. Jimmy he's probably the closest that I've seen to Kobe Bryant with that mentality of just, man, Jimmy will figure out a way for us to win. I've never seen a will like that. I'm like, this dude got a Kobe Bryant will, a will to him to win. And I've seen Draymond play a lot of different sports. And what people say about Draymond, can't do this, can't do that, can't do this. Like, what does he do great on the basketball court from a basketball skill set? I don't care what you say about him. This dude will figure out a way to win at whatever he's doing. I've seen him compete in so many things, and I'm like, this is an awkward way you're doing this. But when it comes down to it, he won. And so you have to, there's a value to that. And it may not show up on a stat sheet, it may not show up in a form, but he just figures out a way to win. And for him to be 6'5.5" and play the position he plays and get a triple-double with scoring like 2 points, like crazy stuff like that, you gotta respect it. It's very valuable. And then there's leadership qualities to those type of guys more so than to the guys who have all the skills. And so we following Steph, but Draymond gonna take us to a place that, because he basically covering up everybody else's weaknesses. That's just what he's brilliant at. It's like, all right, this is weakness. And he knows everything. Like he's in tune with the game. Like he knows everybody's plays. He know what they coming with the first play out of the timeout. He know what the first play coming out of each quarter. And players don't think like that anymore. Like he's on another level up there. And when I sit back and watch it sometimes, I'm like, listen, y'all can say whatever y'all want to about this man, but it's like a genius there.
I remember there was a reaction where, and I said, "Oh man, you have to watch it where something happened, and Klay fell a certain way, and he caught him at the same.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
pump faked the
man,
Christian pump faked him.
Tristan pump faked him.
Undercut him, and he
like instead of going for the block, he'd rather catch his player, knowing it's an awkward movement. I was like, damn, he's aware of everything that's going on. That was like that right there. Like just put me in the that was injury. That was done right there. And instead of like, okay, you pump faking me going for it or to hold Tristan to foul him, he rather I give up the 2 or whatever that was, and I'm just gonna catch my dude.
He does stuff like that all the time, actually, like all the time. Like he knowing what's gonna happen. Like we missed the coverage. And the offense ain't even saw that we missed the coverage yet. And he was like, man, we missed the coverage and they about to see it. And he'll be there. He'd be like, damn. Like small stuff like that goes a long way.
So let's talk a little bit, we're gonna switch it up. Let's talk about these Celtics. You got the chance to coach Tatum and Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, for the most part. I don't even be like, I coached them. Like, no.
But you got to see those guys. So we talk a lot.
Hilarious.
And a couple years ago, obviously, they started out struggling. Everybody was saying they need to break up the duo. Gil was one of the few people saying, no, ride out with them. So Jaylen Brown just got his bag. Tatum's going to get his bag in the near future. Do you think that duo can raise a banner for the Celtics, or is it time to think about?
No, I definitely think they can raise a banner for the Celtics. I think when you have, 2 top 5 scorers and, 2, right now at their age, they're dominant. Like you said, amongst their age, it's unbelievable. They can play 2 ways and they can lead a game combining for 65 or 70 points easily. And I'm always big on, it's not about the, X's and O's, it's about the Jimmys and Joes. And it's not about so much how, but when, the time and they clear it. They were they're up 2-1 versus the Warriors 2 years ago. You know what I mean? I think every year they scratch the surface of making it, but I for sure think Tatum's gonna win a couple championships.
So what they missing?
What they missing? I think depth. I think we were kind of fooled that they were deeper than they really were. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I've always.
Nah, and to be honest with you, I think we were just gassed off it. And kind of like similar to, you know, a couple times when even in 2016 when Klay wasn't hitting many shots or Harrison didn't show up before you know it, it was like, damn, only scorers on the Warriors were Barbosa and Steph maybe. You know what I mean? And I think we saw that in the Game 7 with the Heat. The second Tatum went down, unfortunately, the offense wasn't always necessarily there, but I think to have a shooting big like Porzingis, a real crazy third option is going to be decent. But you got to let Horford, you know, ride off the pasture and get some young youth in there. And whether it might not be the sexiest name, but I think I'm a big Peyton Pritchard fan. I think like how they start adding some of that stuff in the offense and everything is going to matter. You got to have that third or fourth option got to be thorough. And shout out to Marcus Smart, but you can't. Anytime that's your third best player, champ.
I was saying it. I'm sitting there like.
That's why I knew we was gonna win the championship.
Yeah, from 2006. That's what I said.
No, that's no knock.
To take me out
It just you know, I just seen it before. I just seen it before.
No, but serious is like when we sitting here going talent for talent, it's like, okay, you got White. I don't really know who he is. I mean,
anytime you're playing 3-point guards, it's saying a lot.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, who y'all supposed to beat? And then you got Al Horford.
Still playing.
I didn't even know he was still playing. He's still only like 31. He's 40, but he's 30. And he's your backup who's protect the rim? Like, what game are you guys playing? They're going small, and then your guy is the most unathletic person on the team.
Yeah.
To protect the rim? Come on, let's just stop. Let's just game over, right? Like, the only way you guys win a couple games is the league does this for you. But other than that, you guys don't have the talent. But the problem is, you get that far and think, oh, you know, just one more year. No. 6 more players. Right? You need 6 more players. I'm sorry, you need 6 more players. That's what you really need. You don't need no more years. You need more better players. Don't get fooled by what happened. It was just, you remember our group chat? You remember the group chat?
Arizona?
Yeah. When I was the one they're talking shit.
No, I know.
Yeah. Miami, y'all ain't gonna win.
No, 2020.
Yeah.
I mean, no, we knew too. I mean, I knew.
No, but it was like it was just such a big off balance, right?
Yeah,
you know, it's just some teams just
it's like star power matters.
Yeah.
And the pieces around it. But like Boston, what people don't realize is we don't value the bench as much as we used to. Because like even with the Bulls dynasty, they were a well-oiled machine coming off the bench. It was all vets.
Yep.
And now the NBA is like, it's get young guys. And it's like, bro, these dudes don't even know how to play basketball.
Or care about winning.
Right.
But rightfully so, like to a certain extent, you use the Warriors and it's like the young dudes want to play. Like, yeah, they do want to play. Contract years coming up, yes, they want to play. Like right now, you can't get mad at a young dude. Of course, like adding on, you can at the same time, but it's like you have to really sacrifice.
Yeah.
When you coming from that second unit and legit be prepared for everything.
But no one, that's that part too. No one wants to come off the bench and no one wants to play the right way in order for the team to have success. And when you got a team, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, that second unit got to play like the Spurs.
Yeah.
A bunch of us gonna get 8.
Yep.
But it's going 6 times 8 is 48.
Yep.
That's a whole lot of points.
coming off the bench.
And them two scoring 70.
Yeah.
Yep.
We at 115.
Yeah.
Every game.
Yeah, them two.
That's winning.
All we need is a couple stops.
That's winning.
Like,
Two dudes getting 50 wins every year, so it's like just figure it out and join in.
That second unit is always the most important unit starting 5 usually equal itself out. Who has the better bench?
Yeah.
Because you got to sub.
Yeah.
Right? You got to sub, you guys, with the Lakers when they won them championships, coming off the bench.
Yeah, they had a solid squad off the bench.
That second unit. When we sub, we got to have somebody that can hold the league, expand that league,
Kick up the league for sure.
We haven't seen many good benches lately, though. Did Milwaukee have one? Did Phoenix have one playing against them?
No. Denver's bench.
Denver's bench
was
solid.
pretty good.
Denver,
it's decent.
And to be honest with you,
Brandon, 2 guys off the bench.
no, the Heat's bench, which was their starters, was really, really good too.
But that was
No, what's funny is
the truth.
If you think, but that was my argument.
Yeah.
I said, well, if they had their starters,
Hero.
this would be a better team. But
Yeah.
the fact that these are the bench guys starting, let you know how good the bench is now.
I thought you called them a YMCA team.
Yeah, this is YMCA. You got what? 15 players, 8 of them was undrafted. Yeah, YMCA. It's worse.
Right.
It's the worst lineup in NBA history.
NBA Finals history?
No, period. There's not been one.
Crazy, dude.
No.
No. Period.
I mean, don't. I mean,
G-leaguers.
Like we're not. Don't think about like what they did. Just the thought of you got a 15-man roster, and 8 of them were undrafted players. That's never been.
On good teams, none of them would be on the team.
Yes, like that. You don't have. There's no roster in NBA history that has that many undrafted players.
It's like random spoons.
Yeah.
Random spoon.
You sell them soup, you rent them spoons.
Got a few more for you guys. Appreciate y'all being here. You talk about young players getting the bag. Obviously, got to talk about Jordan Poole. You got the chance to play with Jordan Poole with the Warriors. He got traded now to the Wizards. So what do you think about Jordan's game, and what are your expectations just for what his ceiling can be with that Wizard squad?
Yeah, I was asked a question. This sums up Jordan Poole. I was asked a question from a coach, the Celtics coach I played golf with. He was like, he was like, yo, which way does Jordan Poole go? Does he go right or left? Which way is he like going more? I'm like, that's a good question. And he was like, well, we sent him right, but then we sent him left, and then this happened. He was like, I don't know which way he goes. I was like, listen, whichever way the pick come, he going the other way, right? But then I got to thinking,
That's impressive.
like, I was like, yo, man, get a go-to move. JP, get a go-to move. He was like, what you mean? I was like, fam, you just go to get a go-to move, because like, I don't know what move you're gonna use. But then I thought about it, I was like, don't nobody know what this kid gonna do. Like Klay even said it. And Klay was like, man, this kid is so electric. With like and then when you watch him work out, he be working on some crazy stuff. Like he put his work in, like Steph be shooting him half-court shots all the time. So when they make him, he just be used to it. Poole's the same way. He be shooting crazy shots, and over time, you be like, nah, he do this all the time. And so you give him a situation where he can just be free, and not say he was in handcuffs, but you playing with 3 Hall of Famers and an All-Star in Wiggins. Like you gotta restrict him a little bit because you can't be too chaotic. It's already chaos. And so I think he'll be great with just being able to just like having this. He has a landscape, and he just can create whatever he wants to create. He can throw whatever painting he wants to throw on this wall, and you don't know what you're gonna get. But you can say, like, if your favorite artist, you be like, man, what do you call it? Commission me a painting. That means start with a blank skate and just make me whatever you want, and I give you 100,000.
So he about to Kanye West it?
But Kanye ain't dropped no dud ever.
I know, that's what I'm saying. He about to Kanye West it.
But the thing with him, I talk to him to this day. I said, listen, you got to grow up now. You got your own team. Like, it comes with some responsibility. And you've been in environments where it's really controlled. Like, everybody's cool, everybody's in line. I'm like, it really ain't like this in the NBA. Like, niggas is wilding. It's crazy.
Yeah, you ain't even head on yet. Yeah.
So you think he about to average?
He already averaged 20 now.
He averaged 20 last year on a bad year.
You think I'm 28, 30?
He gonna get to the line because they didn't. He was the one getting to the line for us.
Yeah.
He's the only one that got to the line for us consistently. People act like he had a bad year. I'm like, okay, a bad year. Like y'all blamed him for the year we had last year, and he averaged 20. And they have no expectation for winning.
Yeah, he gonna average 30.
At least 25 plus.
Yeah, for sure.
25 plus. Easy. He gonna get to the line, and then at home, you got to give him a whistle at home. He gonna average 30 at home.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's chocolate.
Probably average 30.
And it's Chocolate City, so you know he's gonna be in the stands. They got all the memes. Every time you see a bad chick,
The
he
baddies.
40.
It's a pool party when the baddies in the building. So.
But he's already starting to make the right strides. Like I've heard about what he's been doing with his teammates. Like I just sat with him the other day, and he was like, I was asking him about his teammates, and he knew everything about every one of them. And I'm like, oh, okay. We starting off on the right path. He tapped in. I think he brought them all out to LA. Like he did it. We all meeting together. Like he leading. I'm like, okay.
Bagman. Yeah, that's me.
Because he's a smart kid where he knows like, 120 starts next year, but then 200 comes in 4 years. So he one of them guys like, oh no, I'm planning for the next one. Like he ain't gonna just stop on his contract. Yeah.
That's how he's supposed to be for the next one.
Yeah.
Last thing I got for you. You got a number of successful off-court investments, including Zoom. What advice would you give the young players just about making smart decisions with your bread?
I'm a 2-2. Just give me your money and I'm a 3X it.
Yeah.
No, I got my own VC firm. We got a fund. I just started. And we just finished our first raise. We raised 150. And this climate was incredibly hard. Like it was crazy hard to raise that much money in what happened in 2022 with the markets. But we're already starting off with a good start. We invested in 10 companies so far. We got one that's turning a profit already. But I'm joking about giving me your money. But I'm not.
Don't joke.
But players have so much money now. The only thing for them to do is turn the money into, like, they should be trying to turn the money into, like, you can legitimately have $100 million in your bank account. Like, that was unheard of for us. Mm-hmm. Like, we could sign a big deal for $80 million. First of all, it's only 40. Mm-hmm. Then we got family members and we got expenses and the NBA lifestyle back then, you know, we trying to enjoy the stuff they enjoying. The stuff they enjoying now is just like, it's nothing to them. Like,
I'm crazy, right? It's like like the more money they have, it's like the expense went down.
Yes, right? It's like we had expenses, but it all kind of made sense with how the lifestyle goes. Mm-hmm. Now I'm just like, fam, that's not even touching. You can just pay all this off on interest alone. And players are getting a little smarter, starting to understand. The one thing I would say to players is stay in tune to the game. And I always appreciated that. Like Elton Brand was like, you take losses too hard. I would never change that. Mm-hmm. So you got to take care of the game and the money will just keep coming. But it's so much money out there now that we can start owning things. Like you can own things now. Like beforehand, we were all mom and pop businesses. Yep. We had barbershops, we had car washes, we had record labels. Yep. We did like the real estate. We did a little real estate on a smaller scales. Mm-hmm. Small scales, dealerships. I just was in Utah, and I won't say his name because you can't say that man's name because Twitter be on him as they should.
I just said it the other day.
Right?
Yeah.
But I see his dealership all the time. Mm-hmm. You know, Junior Bridgman was early with what he did, like Jamal Mashburn. Yeah. Nobody knows Jamal Mashburn. He's a franchisee, which means he licensed out for you to have a franchise. Like he's I'm like, oh, you got to go through him to get a stove. Like he right there, which is what Junior Bridgman was. Yeah. And then what's my man named Benny Johnson is sitting on something crazy. Nobody knows about that, Paul. Whoa.
That's actually my godfather, but
is it?
Ain't seen him in a while.
He doing
But got
well.
love for you, man. Break bread. Look out for your godson.
Vinny,
you see me wearing these dirty chucks.
And so players just be in tune. Here's the thing players need to know. If I had to make it like, I don't want to go on a long rant and just make it quick, like one sentence, get with real wealth managers, right? And so just open up the Wall Street Journal I know we aren't in black banks the way we should be, but there's a way to do that. But I always tell guys, get your treasure chest in place. Like get the foundation in place where, guys, if y'all can just get like, y'all got so much money, you can just set 50 million aside and not touch it, and you can still have all the fun you still want. They have that much money. Yeah. I'm looking at guys making 40 million a year. I'm like, oh my God, like that was my whole contract twice. Yeah. I played 19 years. People are like, look at your earnings. I'm like, fam, it took me 19 years to get this. Dudes is getting this in 4 years. And it's just like, and I don't want to promote these types of financial institutions, but if you put 50 million there, just leave it. It's going to turn to 100. It's going to turn to 150. Compound interest is the 9th wonder of the world, right? And so it's you got JP Morgan's, go private equity. Vista, if he lets us in. That's my guy, Paul. Robert Smith, Goldman Sachs, they just had a bad quarter though. Morgan Stanley, Merrill Lynch, like you have your large wealth management firms. They're the safest bet, but your money is still gonna grow like unbelievably. It's just like there's no more excuses. Like I tell people all the time, we missed that boat. We missed it. So, but like we smart enough to figure it out on the back end. But they have no excuse. Like y'all make so much money, you can be really safe and still become a billionaire. It's insane.
Real shit.
Yeah.
Real shit.
He told me, he sent me his stuff, man. I had to, I had to. I was like, got a hotel. I got a house. I want a hotel. I want a hotel.
300 million, you get 300 million.
I want a hotel.
And it's about to go up.
I know.
It's ready, bro.
The licensing.
And they said
it was crazy.
And they said they about to have a Saudi NBA. The Saudi's about to make a run at the NBA.
Yeah, who finna go over there?
If y'all need help, there's a way that we can work together so there's no disruption. So, no, but that...
Let a nigga live hoops. Live hoops.
If somebody go over there 500, 600, 700 million for the year, I'm like, man.
I got the formula. you don't have the beef that golf had. but the golf dudes, man, you had no choice.
They get down or lay down.
But the problem I have, right, here's an issue that I have. Why is it that the NBA players or NFL players, there's always a certain, there's a way that they perceive us. It's insane. Like Rashad, you know, right? When we say we want to own something, it's like blasphemy.
Yes.
Don't you dare.
Ever.
But when Messi signs a deal, royalties deal with Apple don't do endorsements.
Ever.
Ain't nobody ever said that, had they? Apple don't do endorsements. They bought Beats and we ain't seen nobody endorse Beats since, right?
Nope.
You don't see nobody famous doing commercials, that's just U2, and they selling all their stuff goes to charity. So that's not an endorsement deal. Apple don't do endorsements. Apple just did a deal with Messi. And then he has the royalties on all jersey sales with Adidas. We've never seen anything like this before, and it's praised as the greatest deals of all times. But as soon as we like try to peek through the peek hole, like, yo, can we own just a little bit? We got the money.
And shut up and dribble.
And stay over there. And so I'm trying to navigate that world because I've always, like Jalen Rose speaks on it. It's just like you got two types of African Americans according to them. You got like your Duke boys, you stand up straight, you play politics, and you speak well. Like you speak well, and you have to play the game, right? Or you got, that's a very valuable African American. Or you got the ignorant ones who say, they try to put him in the box, but he's too smart. They try to put you in the box, but you're too smart, right? It's just like, oh, he's ignorant, he's the Dennis Rodman, and we can just monetize the madness and we can produce it back to those people. So that's what they see as how to act, and we control that. You can control that. And so, but you can never kind of create your own lane where it's just like, Jaylen Brown said he wanted to do Black Wall Street. You know what I mean? Or group economics is on the back of my jersey in the bubble. But that's a threat. And so it's how do you navigate in this world? And it's just an interesting place right now. But the way this money going up,
it's gonna be hard.
You can build, now we can start building our own lane.
The unity is always gonna be the toughest thing for us because as much as we play together on the court, when it comes to off the court, it's hard to work together.
Ego.
To even keep each other's attention, to listen to a pitch, to listen to a concept. Be like, yo, bro, we got some shit that we can take to the next level. Well, man, you a nigga. Let me talk to this white boy over here. He's developed. He has experience. But it's like, yo, I've been listening to, I had a guy that was a C-level, like, icon, right? He died during the pandemic. He was with Goldman Sachs. He was with the Morgan Stanley, Merrill Lynch, all that, walking me down the aisle of trying to be successful and be that group economics leader. But you don't get that opportunity to give back to certain guys if you don't got the resources.
Right.
And the resources come from niggas like you, that, like, people don't give Gil credit for the negotiation mind that he has. He's a genius. You being able to be the investment genius and understanding Silicon Valley, Golden State, 3-time champion, boy, I was down here winning on and off the court. Y'all tripping, right? But if we don't ever tap in with each other,
right,
we're never gonna know it's even available or even the opportunities there, right? And Gil's always said about his off the court, like the hibachi farms and all the like he got some other shit that he
Hibachi farm.
He just be sitting back.
So I've been in the game since like 2016, like straight rugged style gorilla. I didn't know nothing about weed, never smoked a day in my life, right? I just understood numbers and watched a lot of drug movies. Right? No, just because I was trying to like get the concept of how are these guys making $1 million a day in the poorest neighborhood? Doesn't make sense, right? You would think they're in Beverly Hills doing all this stuff where the money's at, and then realizing by people consume on their vices versus bills.
Yes.
Right. So I started just watching customers. Watching, like calculating how much money they can make and spend and realize, how are you guys affording this, right? Then I started using video game tactics, right? So like on the 14th and the 15th, the 14th and the 1st, right? So on like the 13th and like the 28th, I put out the best prices, right? Because I know you don't have no money, so I need you to go get it. Right, so I'll do like if an eighth is 3.5 for like $40, I sell it for 25, all top shelf, right? Just try to flood the market, let you go out there and spend, and then on the 1st and the 15th, put it back to normal.
Yeah.
Right, put it back to normal because you got money now. Right, so I'm trying to get all your money at the beginning and then bend you at the end. So I went up I was doing like 1,000 people a day. So Al and all of them are in the game. Right, and I told him, I said, hey, listen, I own about 1,000 acres, right? So if you're trying to build, I just charge you rent. Landlord, I charge you on nothing. I said, to be honest.
Allegedly.
No, I said to be honest, you have a formula I don't have.
Right.
You have all the genetics and this and that.
Yeah.
I have the land, right? So I'm gonna need you to grow anyway. So won't we just? I'm telling people, like, I got all the land, so y'all can just rent whatever. I'm your landlord. That's why I'm not gonna average you. You're like, I said, you're going over here doing $20,000 a month, $40,000 a month. And I'm thinking about $3K. Right? But I guess because it's like, you don't know, right? And it's like I'm just one of those dudes. Like I can just tell you, like I can propose to you. So I have like buildings on top of buildings, and I don't even do nothing. I said I'd rather podcast it.
Well, genius.
You know what I mean? DA kept hitting cash flow, so I had to stop it. Catch it.
But now you got Gil's Arena.
Had a legitimate.
Fourth most successful podcast in the space.
Fourth. The third. The second.
First in the hearts of everybody.
Live show, we number one.
Live show.
We got our own podcast.
Best looking.
Best. Shout out to D-Wade, man. Shout out to D-Wade, Hall of Famer. You know what I'm saying? Miami Heat. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my guy, man.
I like that. That's legendary. But Andre, we appreciate y'all. Make sure you check out their Point Forward podcast. This has been another episode of Gil's Arena presented by Underdog Fantasy. Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
See y'all soon.
I know, right?
Look, with the honor call for greatness, the chosen the few, that carry the gift of genius, who do what they do, who possess